everybody. Today, I want to talk to you about dark future precedents. This is some work I've recently been doing, and actually that just was published last week. It's some work that I've been doing with Dr. Michael Bennett from Arizona State University, and some work that I've been doing on my own. And the idea behind dark future precedents is that the kernel of it is that how science fiction will save business and could save the future of business. But I'm actually going to take it even further, and I'm actually going to put forward that I think science fiction can actually save our future. So let's start with the future. I'm a futurist. It's my job to look 10 to 15 years in the future and model both positive and negative futures, and then work with organizations to get there. So if we're going to have any conversation about saving the future, and a lot of the things that we've talked about today and that you've heard on the TED stage has all been about the future. So let's talk about the future. Where are things going? As we look 10 years into the future, where is it going? So this part of the rug will be today, and this part of the rug will be the future. We'll say here's about 10 plus, here's about 5, 2.5, 1. Okay, let's get started. Okay. So here's some things that we know about the future. So that as we move out 10 to 15 years, we will have industrial-grade artificial intelligence. This is not the artificial intelligence we have today, where you have sort of Watson and these big sort of supercomputers that are away and owned only by large corporations and by large organizations. This will be artificial intelligence that you have in your pocket. This will be artificial intelligence that you just encounter all the time. You'll be able to have it in your lamp. You'll be able to have it anywhere you want it. So then as we move to the future, the next thing that we're going to have is we're going to have the proliferation of the Internet of Things. Right? We have the ability to turn anything into a computer, and so we're going to put computational power, we're going to put sensing and smarts into all these different things. So as we move into the future, we will be surrounded by things that are smart and intelligent and sensing and kind of talking back and forth. Next, we're going to have the global spread of smart cities. Today, we have some smart cities, and we have some, and they're connected. But as we move into the future, we're going to have more and more cities that are aware, that are smart, that have smart grids, that have smart citizenry. There's a whole matrix of understanding smart cities. We will essentially be living inside of massive computers. And what's awesome about that is when you're living inside a massive computer, it means you can optimize it for things. Not just safety and security and sustainability, but you can optimize it for making people laugh or for having a good time or holidays or togetherness, that we'll be able to optimize our environments. Next, we're going to start to have a meaningful use of big data and data science, right? The ability to take all this information that's coming out of these smart cities, that's coming out of the Internet of Things, and make use of it. And make use of it not just to sell more stuff, but to actually make people's lives better, to make them healthier, to make them happier, to make them more productive. Next, we're going to have the normalization of autonomous transportation. This is not only on the ground, but this is in the sea and in the air. That as we move from today and we move forward, we will start having more and more and more autonomy around us. Self-driving cars, self-piloting drones, and airplanes, as well as ships. We're already seeing that. And then finally, which is my favorite, because I'm a super nerd and I love everything science and everything science fiction, we're going to have everyday encounters with robots. Where today, when you come to conferences or you go out and you see a robot, you're like, oh, cool, that's a robot. Oh, my gosh. That as you move into the future, you'll be like, oh, yeah, it's a robot. I've seen that. It's no big deal. That literally robots will be like, oh, look, it's the neighbor's robot again. It's going nuts. You should call him. Now, with all of this said, and you'll see that I'm an optimist, it's going to be amazing. So all of these things, they're constellation of them. What does this mean? What will that world look like? Well, as a futurist, again, it's my job to not just look at what's next. These are all the things that are coming next, the things that you hear people talk about all the time. It's my job to say, what is the thing after the thing? What is coming when we have all of this and this is all normal? And so one of these pieces that I've been working on is this notion of the coming age of sentient tools. That 10 to 15 years from now, we will have tools that are aware. They are aware of where they are aware of themselves. We will have tools that are smart and that can think, that can actually think for us. And then they will also be social. They will know us. They will be able to act and interact with us. So in this world of sentient tools, it is a complete transformation. There will be no aspect of our lives that is left untouched by these tools. And again, they're not there to replace human beings. They are simply tools. They're not there to think and be smarter than us. They're actually just artificial intelligence. Again, this industrial-grade artificial intelligence. But what will it feel like to live in this age of sentient tools? What will it actually feel like? And for me, I'm guessing that the image that you have in your head right now, I'm guessing, looks like this. Just so you know, it will not look like this. If you remember nothing else about my talk, you should know I hate this picture. The reason why I hate this picture, if you remember nothing else from us talking today, there's one thing that you should walk away with. Robots do not sit in chairs. They don't. I'm a roboticist. I actually build robots. Robots do not sit in chairs. It's quite cute. Actually, they squat. But robots do not sit in chairs. And so the problem I have with this is at best, it's stupid and it's wrong. At worst, it's dangerous because it's trying to scare you, right? That robot is sitting in the chair and basically the robot's looking at you going, yeah, I'm sitting in your chair, human. What are you going to do about it? Now, the reason why this is a problem is because if it's there to frighten you, fear makes you stupid. You make bad purchase decisions, policy decisions. We make bad decisions about our future. So what we imagine when we think about this amazing future that's coming is important. Now, on my next picture, on the screen right here, I have a picture of what the future is actually going to look like. Who wants to see it? Oh, that's good. You actually hooted. You actually made some noise. A few of you raised hands, which was very nice. Just so you know, a lot of you just kind of sat there. Why are you here? I'm going to show you the future. So let me ask you again. Who would like to see the future? Okay, get ready. Are you sure? Now, here's the thing, because you can't unsee what I'm about to show you. There's no going back. Like, literally, there is your life up until today. It will be marked by this crazy bald futurist, and then after it, there's your day. That's it. So, like, literally, what I'm about to show you, you will go home and tell your children about. If you do not have children, you might actually go have children just so you could tell them about what I'm about to show you. The future is very dangerous. Okay, here we go. Ready? Bam! Now, I use this to make a double point. The first point is that the world that I am talking about looks like this. The tools that I am talking about are average, are everyday. It's just a tool. And tools are only interesting when you use them to do something. So a hammer, it's just a hammer, but a hammer is only interesting when you use it to build a house. Now, the other thing, which you were probably thinking, is that this vision of the future shows an incredible lack of imagination. Could not be a bigger letdown. And this is why I want to put forward to you this notion, that the human imagination will actually save the future. As we think about this future and the coming age of sentient tools and all of this technology that we feel so much pressure and anxiety about, that the thing that can save us is the human imagination. Because nothing great was ever built by people that wasn't imagined first. When I work with generals, when I work with CEOs, when I work with board of directors, I tell them that the most underutilized tool is the imagination. And that the imagination is the thing that we have. And I'm going to push it even further and say that the vessel for that imagination is stories. That human beings are story-believing machines. That's what we do. And that as we think about the future, that as we start to think about this future of sentient tools, we need to ask ourselves, what is the future we want? What is the future we want to avoid? And the wonderful thing about stories is that they can actually show us that. A really good story is about a person in a place with a problem. So as we start to think of these stories, as we start to think of them, we actually have command and control over our future. That stories are the thing that allow us to have a conversation about the future, to say, this is what we want, and this is what we want to avoid. And I've seen it happen. As a futurist over the last 2 decades, I've been very fortunate to work on 21st century robots. I've been able to first start thinking about robots in science fiction and then actually bring them into schools, the most recent place here in Burbank, California, and getting kids who have never designed robots before, imagining designing and building robots. I've done it with the US military. I've done it with companies as they design products that actually, if you use these stories, you can actually change the future. So I'm going to challenge you. And my challenge to you is that as you sit and think about your future, as you go back, right, science fiction allows us to think of these possible futures, and it allows us to think about both the opportunities and the pitfalls, right? What are the threats out there? That's how it can help business, but I think it can go further. I think that as you go out and as you leave and as you think about the future, as you start to feel that tension, as you start to feel that worry, as you start to think about all the things that bother you about the future, is that remember that in this age of information overload, stories, our stories about the future, that's what we have. That might only be the last thing that we have to move through all of this noise. And that's what sets us apart from humans and technology. One of the things that has our power is our power of imagination and to tell stories. And the other thing that we have is other human beings. Stories are not real stories until they're told. And saying, this is the future I'm frightened of, and this is the future that I don't want, and start having that conversation. So I'm going to challenge you to say that what we talk about when we talk about the future should be stories. And they should have love and loss, and they should have treachery and tragedy, and we should blow stuff up. They should be exciting. But we should always start the conversation with a story. And please, let's make it a science fiction story. Thank you so much, everybody.